Hi there and welcome back, where today we're going to be talking about the LOVEBITES song Rising. It's a few years old, but we're just getting around to talking about it now. In fact, I reviewed some LOVEBITES songs recently. We've been really catching up on this band, and I reviewed a couple of songs, one which I thought was a new song, which was actually really old, because they've obviously been re-uploading some of their videos, haven't they? Just to confuse me, of course. But this is a band who we first listened to Thank you. So this is a band that we first listened to years ago when they were just coming out, but we were in the phase of listening to loads of new bands, and I must admit we didn't come back to them for a while, so this is a really good point for us to catch up both on songs old and new, and Rising is one that I wanted to check out because it had a video. Clearly they invested a lot of money into it, so let's see what it's like, I thought to myself, and what it was like, frankly, is actually really impressive. Now, there are certain things about LOVEBITES that anyone who knows me and knows this channel for a while will know are ones that I maybe have to wrestle with more. The things that I really like about LOVEBITES as a band is that sort of sense of really big orchestral impact, the fact that everything's dramatic, the fact that they have orchestration behind their songs, the fact that they have such a powerful voice singing who is willing to do those big songs that almost go operatic in nature. I love the fact that they're willing to go all in on having really sort of heavy guitar stuff, but at the same time they give it a sort of classical quality. I guess it is those underpinning classical influences that I feel in the music that most work for me. Now, that's not to say I don't like heavy music. I do cover a lot of heavy bands that I really like, but some of the heavy rock / metal tropes are the ones that I more struggle with, one of them being excessive use of double kicks. Now, this song is an interesting example of that, because what I really want to say about Rising is it's one of those songs where I guess the name is somewhat apt, because it's one of those songs where when it started I wasn't 100% sure how taken I was going to be by it, but at the end I was really taken by it. I was really 100% on board because of the way it developed as it went on. Now, yes, my number one thing that I maybe struggle with is the double kick. I do have trouble when you have that much kick. It kind of takes away a lot of the rhythm for me, but after a while it started to become like a sort of a gentle, almost like tapping your fingers on a desk. It just became sort of a rolling, rumbling rhythm. Also, the fact that it doesn't occur throughout the entire song gives it a little bit more purpose when it does arrive. It's not just constantly barreling along. There are bits where in the verses and such like, and very much in the bridge, which we'll come back to, it breaks down, goes to a more traditional beat, so you've got room to kind of hear the song in a different light. And I'm always one who says that I like when songs give the impression that they're progressing and they're going somewhere, so those changes between the heavier bits of drum use and the lighter bits are really good, although the majority of the song does seem to be with that thumping double kick. However, as I pointed out, it does work in this sense in that it's not too intrusive, it's not up in your face in a way that you can't sort of hear around it. And one of the other reasons it works is because when you want to do heavy double kick, a lot of the time it works quite nicely if you've got a nice slow melody over the top, because the two sort of counter each other out. They almost cancel each other, in that often the vocal melodies that we hear in LOVEBITES songs are the sort of melodies that are too slow and too operatic for this type of music. But usually you'll find that the core of the song, the guitars and the bass, are going at one tempo, the vocals are going almost at half time, and the drums are going at double time. And the sense is that all of it, when it comes together, does kind of work. It balances itself out. And that's an interesting quality that I have to give for them. So even though I am not necessarily the biggest follower and fan of double kick drum usage, you know, they kind of make it work a lot of the time. And this is one of those examples where it certainly wasn't intrusive for me, and at its best points, it did really come through and work well. But what were the things that stood out to me as being good? What were the highlights of this song? Well, can't deny, chorus was pretty good. Not the best chorus they've ever done. They've got some really good choruses. This was a pretty good one. It was good enough, I'd say, for a single. But where they really excelled was in just the whole way that the song flowed along, and the use again of strings and just the other sounds they put in. It sounds so terrible to say that about a band who've got such fantastic musicians, but I think when you are doing such a great hard rock thing, but there are so many other hard rock bands out there, and when you have a central sound that does seem to really sort of lean on the theatrical, the big, the classical, the almost orchestral, you kind of really should be taking advantage of the extra sounds as they are doing here. If your songs naturally are good on their own, but lend towards someone going, wow, this really could be pumped up by strings because it's so big, why not put strings in there? And again, they have that good orchestration in the way that, I always come back to, I really like Glory to the World. I think it's a fantastic song. But again, as that is the archetype of how to do that correctly, this again is using strings to pump things up. They're not getting in the way of the guitars. They're just adding an extra energy underneath it. They are the army behind the general that is the guitarist. And I really think that whole vibe, that whole balance of the song works well. It adds a sort of a delicacy, it adds a depth, and it doesn't take attention away from the band themselves. Now, I have to give a special praise for the bridge. You guys know how much I love bridges. A good bridge can make or break a song. I've said it a million times before, and it is true. If you've got a really good chorus and a really good verse, that is fine, but the bridge is usually the part of the song that really, it tells you a lot about the songwriting, because anyone can write a good chorus. Well, anyone who's competent, has a record contract, should probably be able to write a good chorus. A verse, well, if you know your chorus, you should be able to extrapolate a good verse from that, or vice versa. The bridge, though, is the way that you really contextualize everything often by giving a different take. It's where the song goes in a different direction, or where, if you know your song is high energy, where you manage to ramp things up more to allow the final crescendo or last chorus to occur with an energy that makes it more than just a repeat of what's already been heard twice before, assumedly. In this case, they did one of those bridges where they take things in a different direction. And what I really liked is that they went from the sort of 4/4 rhythm that we have for the most of the song, and then they went into this 3/4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, sort of swinging type of the type of bridge where everything broke down, and I loved that. It just worked. The drum beat when it came in, for what I was saying about the drums before, the drum beat that was laid underneath that was fantastic, because it was like you have your 1 2 3 1 2 3, but the drum beat went into a sort of 1 2 3 4 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2. Sorry, I know I said that with the wrong timing. You know what I mean. And it was nice how the drum beat was kind of playing the same time signature in a slightly different way. So everything was resolving at the same point. The bar was coming around at the same point, but just the rhythms were slightly intertwined, intertangled, a little bit different. The bridge was interesting. And again, in a simple way, because you don't want to go off on too much of a tangent in your bridge, but it was nice. It took us to a slightly different place, a slightly different rhythm, whilst the melody was staying kind of, the melody was holding everything together, holding us within the same song. And then the way that bursted? Yeah, bursted is a word, isn't it? No, burst. Burst is the past tense of burst, isn't it? No, I think it's bursted. The way that bursted into the guitar solo. Did anyone want an English lesson? Well, I got one from myself. So the way that bursted into the guitar solo, someone's going to correct me, was wonderful. The guitar solo itself, sort of standard thing. You have the backing just kind of went solidly round, and the guitars did their work, but the guitar solo, as always, with Lovebites was really good. The nice fact that it bounces between two lead guitarists also gives it a bit of colour, so it changes up halfway through, but it was just so much more effective after having the whole layup of that bridge before. And then, of course, that throws you perfectly after that, having the energy of now we've got the guitar solo, then it throws you into when the vocals come in to give you that final chorus. So I really felt that the latter half of the song was dealt with very well. The first half of the song, as I say, the intro didn't do a huge amount for me. And then the sort of verse comes in. Verse is good. We already know she's got a good song. Now you're thinking a good voice. We're already sort of thinking what's going to set this song apart. Then, the chorus is good. And you start thinking, okay, I'm getting used to this. You're getting used to the energy of the drums. The drums are starting to settle in. The second verse helps by the way it breaks up, and you get the drums break up again before they come in for the second chorus. And you're starting to live with it, and it's growing on you. And then that bridge just really goes, okay, so this is where they really show that they understand what they're doing, and they can contextualize it by using a bit of contrast. And then you get the solo where they nail what they're obviously so famous for doing with that. And then the final crescendo, it all comes around. It's one of those songs you start off thinking, okay, this is good. There's Lovebites being Lovebites. And by the end, you're thinking, yeah, you took me on a journey. You took me to a good place, and I really enjoyed it. So again, quintessentially, it was very much them. I'm honest about the things that I maybe have certain hashtag no biases towards. But for me, I could see through the things that maybe were not so much for me and the things that were more of my liking. But I don't think it can really be taken away from the fact this is a good, concise song with fantastic musicianship, a knowing sense of arrangement and writing, and in the end, it just came together. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Continuing to like Love Bites. As always, I've got some songs that have been recommended to me, which I'll be following up on. But anything that you can recommend by Love Bites, anything to give me more variation, hear more of the different sides of what they do. I know their core sound, we know their core sound, but anything you give me that shows me all the different things that they can do, I am 100% for. I've got some more songs to follow up. Looking forward to seeing your comments as always. And until I hopefully see you very soon for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.